Oh, good tidings to everyone. Good on ya. And welcome to, I think, the most important moment and moments. And we'll be an hour together, so it becomes the most important hour. And you know, you can do your own math around how many breaths that you'll be receiving. I like to say receive instead of take, because we don't take breath, because that's really ingratitude for the gift of life. We receive them. I wonder how many in an hour. Well, you just got to kind of just get a little, stopwatch or something, use your cell phones and find out how many about on normal situation, not trying to be yogic and breathe deeper and slower, but in 1 minute. Then you take those times 60, times as many hours that you might think you'd be up. It'll be in the thousands of opportunities today, starting right now, to remember who you are and whose you are, and how powerful, deep impact, man. You just don't have impact on people's lives, positive or negative. You have deep impact, positive or negative. And it's not just a few people in your life, as you know. We are all interrelated. We are all connected to each other. That as I think you will feel that, as you think I will feel that. And as I am, you are, and as you are, I am. I mean, it's ridiculous how interrelated and one we all are in the truth. So this morning, it's this. I got a reading, and maybe I'll start with that. It's look at kind of the 1920s or earlier kind of book jacket. This is a woman named Alice Bailey, and she founded, or not founded, but one of the leaders of the Theosophist Society, and that was the early 20s. The metaphysics that really, from centuries old, come out of the East, she and the Theosophists people brought it to the West. And that was really the beginning of then what came next with the yogis and everything. Although at that time too, Yogananda had come in 1920, Vivekananda had come at the end of the 1800s, and then a whole bunch of teachers from the East. And look at, in Encinitas alone, we have more yoga studios per capita than maybe anywhere in the world. So, but let's listen to what Alice has to say. My wife, she's a metaphysician. She's been studying metaphysics, and if you want to say it's a study of the soul, it's a study of the true self. Meta is beyond the physical world, right? Metaphysics. For so many years now. And so this was the book she was reading, and she came in one morning, and I was meditating. She said, listen to this, because she knew it would relate to exactly what I am up to, because she knows as well, and she's up to. She more focused on the light, and I more focused on the love, so we're the love and light. Not a bad team, right? And you'll hear from this quote, they use the word that love is a force, and then, my organization is Love Force Revolution. So it ties together. Morning, brother.
Morning.
You're looking spiffy in that sweater. Thank you. Thank you for coming again. I really appreciate it. We're actually hearing from one of the leaders in the early stages of the Theosophy Society, way back in the early 20th century. And this is what she said. I am here to emphasize one point as we consider the individual in the group and his or her group relations. We're talking about a group. Here's our first little tip of the morning. Watch with care your thoughts about each other. And I always like to say, we're here to practice truth. Yoga is not just a practice where your mind is somewhere else. That's not good for any practice that you do. But it's a practice to experiment and experience what truth is to you at any given moment. So here we are, a little group. Let's just see if we can be really watchful about our thoughts about each other. As the grand dude just walks in, Rudy, that's what his grandkids call him, the grand dude. All right, let's watch our thoughts about the grand dude and each other, and kill at once. So here is KOS, kill on sight. Kill at once all suspicion, all criticism, and seek to hold each other unwaveringly in the light of love. So wouldn't it be cool, grand dude, with even your wife, and I don't know if the grandkids are in town or when you go, you call them for hey, we have a special circle to do. I have a special message to give to all of you. We're a family. We're a group. And you read exactly this. I would, if I were you guys, I would really take this to heart today, because more than likely there's some other people living around you in the same house. More than likely. Or you go see those people on a regular basis if you're living alone, if you're solo. What an intention to set. Watch out, or watch with care your thoughts about each other, about them, and kill at once all suspicion or criticism that you have about them, and seek to hold each other unwaveringly in the light of love. You have no idea of the potency of such an effort. Remember, I was 25 years with 90 monks or so living in like a fishbowl, man. And when I was in the international headquarters in LA at Pasadena Foothills for 20 of those years, I seriously, and that's a whole nother stream or two, and how I had to dig deeper than what I saw these guys as I thought I saw them, from the little knowing that I had from a human perspective, with all my crap going into them, because you can only have what you have go into others. You can't fake that, even though you might think you can fake that. And I had to change my viewpoint on every single one of those 90 guys. It took me months. But I found the most positive quality in them, and if I couldn't find a positive quality in them, I knew that I had a dark place in me. Because if you spot it, you got it. And I made up one, as close as I could get. Can you imagine, do you have some people in your life that if you stop to think about them, it might take you a little bit of time to find something positive about them? Someone who you still maybe not forgiven, somebody who really screwed you over, whatever, right? It might take you a little bit. If you haven't, and replace that negativity with the positive new way of looking at them. What a practice for a family. As Mother Teresa said, the poverty in the West is greater than the poverty in India, where she was picking up the homeless, the rejections of society. She was picking them up. Of course, she was picking up Christ in each one. But we can be the same way in our own homes, man. We think that we're going to be street angels, and then we come home and we're house devils. We don't know that this is our task at hand, what I'm reading to you this morning, you know? And in some ways, it's probably people get wind of this stream on Sundays here, if they even know it's happening. And it's not easy because of the crap that we're still believing that we know. And a little knowledge is a super dangerous thing. Have you heard that saying? You think you know something, but every day, every breath of these thousands that we're taking, we have to clear the slate of what we think we know. There's a brand new understanding to be had right now. A brand new feeling in your heart right now. A brand new awareness of how important is a group, is a family. Because we're all one. Where are you going to start? You have no idea of the potency of such an effort to kill at once all suspicion, criticism, and seek to hold each other unwaveringly in the light of love. You have no idea of the potency of such an effort, or its power to release each other's bonds and to lift the group to an exceedingly high place. God is perfect for yoga places too, huh? And now we have all this, so many styles here. And I said the other day, we all got to come together for a big, giant yoga class, all the styles. The Nidra people, the Vinyasa people, the Kundalini people, whatever thing that you're doing that you think is your thing. And we come together for this, to release each other's bonds, that you're a Kundalini person, that you're a Vinyasi person, that you're a Hatha Yogi person, and blah, 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 so that we can bring the entire group to the highest place possible. Woo! By the pure light of love for each other. By the pure light of love for each other. The pure light and love for each other as you sit here right now. Don't listen to me. Don't calculate this. Be with your breath, please. Let's inhale. Just breathe in the light of love. And exhale. Share it with others. Share it with others. That's beautiful. Let's breathe in the light of love. Come on. See, we forgot to breathe. You guys were just thinking. Exhale or listening, which takes away all your power. You don't listen with your head. Inhale. You open your heart and you receive a breath. And you fill up with the light of love, and then you distill the information, you see? And give your love to the group, because you're in a group. Have you noticed? Inhale. Receive some more love and light, kids. Thank you. Thank you for unlearning this morning. Thank you for breaking out of what you normally would be thinking about now. And exhale, share some pure love. Just like that. Look at how simple that is. By the pure light of love for each other, you can draw nearer. And she says, to a gate which opens up the lighted way. The gate that opens up the lighted way. See, they're not mentioning God's name here. They're not mentioning, it's just kind of universal language, you know? So people don't get their buttons pushed. As soon as you say the word God, some people just turn off to anything you're going to say. Or Jesus, you know, or whatever. They just had enough of that kind of pounding in of people trying to change them with that kind of understanding. But this is just by giving that pure love to others, you draw closer to a gate that opens up the lighted way. That's the Taoist, the way. You have the opportunity to demonstrate on each other the scientific value and power of love. Love is the greatest science there is. It's a flawless science. It works impeccably, unendingly, never falters, never fails. It is the greatest force in this universe, and it's the greatest power that we have, each of us. As we sit here right now, there's no other reason for us to be sitting here right now. You guys are going to spend 1 hour of your morning on Sunday where you've chosen to come here. And it's precious. It's precious to me, big time, because, you know, there's enough energy, Yogananda said, in a gram of your flesh to light up the city of Chicago for 2 days and 2 nights. So to me, you guys are explosive because of your very true essence and nature. You're explosive. You could change the world when you realize who you are. Just sitting here right now. Do you see how I've turned that into just people coming to sit here and listen to whatever, to who you are? Because we are creator of our lives through the thoughts that we choose to believe in and choose to think. That is exactly what's happening in your life. It's the thoughts that you think perpetually. And then your story then is what's happening in your life and the people who are in it. And every thought is powerful in that it creates exactly according to the kind of thought that it is. But would you rather be a headmaster of yourself or a heart lover of yourself? Heart lover. I got one heart lover. Anyone for heart lover? Cameron, are you in for heart lover? Huh? Yeah, I do too. Because your heart in the what is the Heart Institute? Heart Math? 5,000 times more powerful than your mind. 5,000. We're talking intuition. Into me I see. Intuition, intimacy. Into the power of the light of love that I breathe in, and I am, and I share with you. So powerful are we. So she says, having the opportunity this morning to demonstrate to each other the scientific value and power of love regarded as a force in nature. Before I finish this reading, you know my theme song for the Love Force Revolution? Well, you're going to hear it now. We're the Love Force Revolution. And you have a little chorus to sing. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, we're living, we're dancing our blues away. We're living. Now listen, I'm going to sing this. In the light of the today, or the love of today. In the love of today. And I'm going to hold that note. As soon as I hit that word today, you're going to sing Love Force Revolution. And I'm going to sing that today again. Love Force Revolution. Okay, we're going to start over. But do the yays for now, okay? We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. We're the Love Force Revolution. You know, when I do this in groups and retreats, we get all lined up. And we get in the end of the room. And then we become, you know, kind of badass revolutionaries, you know, of love pouring through us. And we just go, we walk to the end of the room. We're the Love Force Revolution. And yeah, yeah, we're the... And then we visualize that, you know, there's thousands, millions of souls on the planet joining that revolution. That's what's happening. You are creating your life with every thought. Now you're getting wind of how I create. And I don't put any timetable on it, and I don't put an expectation on it. In the AA program, they say expectation is premeditated frustration. Let it go. Your energy is enough to light up the universe, baby. Do you really need some outcome for it? Remember that movie, The Secret? Came out, and everyone thought, wow, I got powers to manifest. No, you don't go there first. You got the powers to demanifest, to unlearn, to get out of the way of the way. In every inhale breath, do you see how important it is to unlearn? Rather than letting this information, vibration sink into you from a mind that's got intellectual indigestion and a constipated system that has so many blockages from emotions and stories and unforgivables that you haven't forgiven for lifetimes? Whoa, I know. That's what we're talking about. So this is why we sing a happy song. And try to release some of those demons. Get out of our own way, right? Yogananda says chanting or singing is half the battle of meditation. I don't know if you guys have sat for very long or for many years. But in the ashram, it was, you know, kind of, we would sit for at least 3 to 6 hours a day, not moving. But we had chanting. And the chanting saved my butt. And it saves my butt today, because if you sing and you mean it and you're singing to the one and to the truth, it opens you up and just wipes out so many demons. So then when you, after the chanting, when you close your eyes, everything is still. Everything is sweet. You're in your heart. You're a heart lover, not a headmaster of yourself. So, this is why we do a lot of songs here, right? We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the... Now I got you singing. Now I got you going. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, what do? We're singing, we're dancing our blues away. We're living, get ready kids, in the love of today. Love Force Revolution. In the love of today, revolution. In the love of today, Love Force Revolution. In the love of today. Oh, I want to hear you though. In the love of today. In the love of today. Good. 1, 2, 3. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. The Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah. We're singing, we're dancing our blues away. We're living in the love of today. Love of today, in the love of today, in the love of today. One more round. We're the Love Force Revolution. Yeah, yeah, we're the Love Force Revolution. You know, all the the masters say a revolution has got to begin in your own system, in your own world of thoughts, of feelings. There's got to be your own. It was Krishnamurti who was all about that in his teachings. The revolution, where is it? It's within inside of you, to revolt against the learning that you have, and to revolve your attention around a truth such as the one that we just have been reading from Alice, and you focus it. And this one is that when we're in a group, we are going to lift the group by sharing that pure light and love energetically. No words need to be said with each other. Now that is such a revolution to me, right? As we sit here now, sparking hearts everywhere, but most importantly, your own. You know what's really makes depression, and anxiety, and overwhelm? Is when you get a little something that's really kind of from your true soul, powerful nature, an intuition, a hunch, a spark, feeling something that, man, you know, this is really good for me, and you don't follow up. That's the nature of depression. That's the nature of you in your friggin' stinking thinking right now. That's the nature right there. That you will revert back to a pattern of thoughts that have been conditioned for so many lifetimes, and that becomes your headmaster. That becomes your teaching. When we got to explode that by what? By receiving and being aware. Let's receive another breath, everyone, of the light and love coming in today. And right now, in this breath, in this moment, in my heart, and exhale, sharing that pure light and love. If you're not with anybody, you share it to the wind, you share it to all hearts everywhere. And breathe another, because you want to shoot for hundreds of these moments today. No thoughts, just a big breath, receiving universal light and love, and exhale, sharing that light and that love. All right. Let's see what she says next. So she said that you will thus release for each other, what we're up to this morning, all that is needed to bring about potent and vital changes in the life patterns and purpose of the group members. We will bring about potent and vital changes in the life patterns and purpose of the group members. I mean, a yoga class you feel pretty good after, you know. But there's not a lot of hugs and all that stuff when you leave, you know. You're still in the island of yourself pretty much. When you realize that you've come here to exhale and share to the entire room the love and light that's coming, it's a fountain. You want to be a fountain. You don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Nothing. No, it's too critical of times on the planet right now for you to be thinking about what's happening on the planet right now. All you got is one training program. How many breaths today can you receive without thinking from your heart and soul, and breathe in the love and the light, and exhale, how much can you share of that love and light as you exhale the breath? And do the math. Keep it scientific. If you have to have a little counter, okay, there was 1, 2. But I'm shooting for what? 500? 1,000 moments today? Because people, I've been a counselor since 1982, and everyone said, it's too hard. It's too hard. I'm in my mind all the time. Of course you're in your mind. Because you haven't decided that you're going to unlearn anything at all, to learn anything new, or in this case, to learn truth, which is going to be a total way of life, and Olympian training for life, and just reprogramming your consciousness, man. Here it is. Anytime you're in a group, the whole purpose of that group is to what? Is to release each other's bonds and to lift the group to an exceedingly high place. So anyway, she goes on to say, let's bring about the potent and vital changes in the life patterns, the stuck patterns and purpose of each member of the group. Love is not a sentiment or an emotion, nor is it a desire or a selfish motive for right action in daily life. Love is the wielding of the love force, which guides the worlds and which leads to the integration, unity, and inclusiveness, which impels deity itself to action. De-manifest. You're not doing it. Let the source in you change the world. Let the love force power going through you change the world. That's why I never liked that thing, The Secret, where it's all about, now I got the powers of man. You don't have the powers of anything until you realize that you shouldn't even be thinking that I have a power. You have nothing if you're thinking about it. Nothing. You're empty again, baby. You're going away with nothing because you came in with nothing. You leave with nothing. And thank God Trish and I just cleaned out our garage because now it's nothing in there. Now we're going to go through the house and we're going to become nothings. We're going to become nobodies. Nobody. We're going to be wield the love force. Anyone interested? Aye. I'm in. Listen. So we're going to impel deity itself to action through you. Love is a hard thing to cultivate. Such is the inherent selfishness of human nature. It is a difficult thing to apply to all conditions of life, and its expressions will demand to you the utmost you have to give and the stamping out of your selfish personal activities. She's something. I don't know, I wouldn't want to go one-on-one with this woman. But now I would. And she just represents kind of the consciousness of the masters, you know. So I came up with this song I wrote years ago, and for some reason it was in my mind this morning. It's Walking Fearlessly. On the path of the great ones. Fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with love in my heart. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with love in my heart. Walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with fire in my heart. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with fire in my heart. I'm following you in my nights of darkness. I'm following you all the way back home. Everyone, I'm following you in my nights of darkness. I'm following you all the way back home. I'm following you in my days of gladness. I'm following you all the way back home. All the way back home. Let's walk with the great ones. Remember, you're out of the way of the way. Deity is expressing through you. Deity is going to change you. Every situation, the family, their consciousness will change to the better. The world will change, but it's not you. We're walking with the great one. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with love in my heart. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with fire in my heart. I'm following you in my nights of darkness. I'm following you all the way back home. I'm following you in my days of gladness. I'm following you all the way back home. 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 Then we'll do this whole thing. Jai Guru, 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 Jai Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. One more round. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with love in my heart. I'm walking fearlessly on the path of the great ones. I'm walking fearlessly with fire in my heart. I'm following you in my nights of darkness. I'm following you all the way back home. I'm following you in my days of gladness. I'm following you all the way back home. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Jai Guru, Jai all the way back home. I'm following you in my days of gladness. I'm following you all the way back home. All the way back home. All the way back home. Jai Guru, 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 Jai. So listen, just tune in with those inner teachers of yours. Your higher self is the Guru. But the Guru is also the Guru of some other fantastic soul who just did all the Olympian training for lifetimes to readjust and recalibrate and to replace everything and anything that limited her or his potential to wield the love force, to be a pure channel of the love force. Let's just tune in to that quality that we already possess within ourselves as that master soul and that heart lover and that indomitable will like of a Mahatma Gandhi and that soul rebel, a rebel on fire for complete liberation and illumination, who only has one desire: happiness for all, prosperity for all, and freedom, freedom, freedom. Remember last week we were all about the we, the oneness, the power of the we. Today we are about the power of the love. And every moment and every breath we're kind of building a vortex, a revolution, revolving ourselves around the truth. We cannot waste any breaths anymore. We cannot think that we're going to manifest anything in this life if it's about ego. We got to get out of the way and experiment for yourself and have an experience yourself of what it's like to let God actually live through you and in you and as you. Until you have the experience, there's nothing that you can do for yourself, nor anyone else, nor any teaching can do for you until you have the experience. And I think that the Theosophy movement, the yoga movement, just the pure heart movement is all about having the experience this morning. Having something happen, a spark go off in you. A little tweak of something that just moves everything into more of an alignment with all those soul powers you already possess. It's crazy how it works. It's crazy when you decide, I'm going to have more love breaths today than I've ever had before. I'm going to be just in this moment with this breath in my heart with my beloved. Remember that little ditty that we did? Let's just do it. In just this breath, in this moment in my heart with my beloved. In just this breath, in this moment in my heart with my beloved. And I'm singing my heart and you go, with my beloved. In my heart 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 with my beloved. In just this breath, in this moment in my heart with my beloved. In just this breath, in this moment in my heart with my beloved. 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 One more just this breath, in this moment in my heart with my beloved. Sing for our world and brothers and sisters who are totally probably not even considering this option right now on our planet. In my heart with my beloved, in my heart with my beloved, in my heart with my beloved, in my heart with my beloved. Inhale a big breath of this universal love force, my friends. Come on. And then breathe it out. And you're a universal being, so why wouldn't it go to everybody? Why wouldn't it go into every heart space? Why wouldn't you be able to be connected to all hearts in the most beautiful, divine way? To the heart lovers in each heart. To the divine that's hidden inside each heart. How? See, it's science, man. It's pure metaphysical science. The reality is non-physical. All right. Sing this after me. There must be some kind of way out of here, says the mind to the heart. There must be some kind of way out of here, says your mind to your heart. Here's the heart's response. Oh yes, definitely, says the heart to the soul. Everyone's passing the buck, you see? Oh yes, definitely, says the heart to the soul. And this is what the soul says. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. So this next line is, let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts. So Cameron, do you mind sitting here and then pulling the chair in? And Anna, could you come in? And Grand Dude, come on in, because I want you guys to hold hands, if you don't mind. I know that's a big request, I know. But hold each other's hand, because it's part of the lyrics coming up. That's all. Okay, let's hear what the soul says. Let's form a circle of love. Until the hands come, and then we'll do it, okay? Let's form a circle. Let go of the hands, Rudy. I know once you've locked on, it ain't going nowhere. Him and Cameron were like holding the world in their hand. You got the whole world in your hand. That was awesome. Okay, let's just form the circle of love, because that's your soul. Remember, your mind just delegated to your heart, and your heart delegated to your soul, and this is what the soul is saying. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. Get ready, hands. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, babe. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, babe. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, babe. Then we're going to do this. And let's circulate. Let's circulate the love. Come on, let's circulate. Let's circulate the love. I love how you got a cross hand. Look at you. You must have been one of these guys back in the Wild Wild West. You remind me of that. And you did the this way, right? You crossed over. Look at, he crossed over in a love circle. He went from a six-shooter bandito to a love circle dude. That's amazing. All right. So let's circulate. Let's circulate the love. Come on, let's circulate. Let's circulate the love and pass it around and around and around and around our world. Pass it around and pass it around and around and around and around our world. There must be some find a way out of here, says the mind to the heart. Listen to what the heart says. Oh yes, definitely, says the heart to the soul. This is what the soul says. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. Let's form a circle of love and include the whole world. You got everyone's hands on the world right now. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, baby. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, baby. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, baby. Let's hold each other's hands and pass the love straight from our hearts, baby. My favorite part, you guys had a circulating thing going. Let's circulate. Let's circulate the light. Come on, let's circulate. Let's circulate the light. Come on, let's circulate. Let's circulate the light. Come on, let's circulate. Let's circulate the love. Gotta pass it to every soul on the planet and pass it around and around and around and around our world. And pass it around and around and around and around our world. And pass it around and around and around and around our world. And pass it around and around and around and around our world. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Woo! Thank you. I mean, I wish I could have shot a video of you. Should have seen you. I was so into it. And it was, no, but it was a reverse row. No, guys, meet Cameron, because Cameron, I just met Cameron today, and he's a coach on the international rowing team. Been to the Olympics 4 times, and he was going in reverse. Meaning that he's going to come back and just like start in kindergarten. You know, you're going to let go of everything you know. No, we really do have to come back and start in the preschool. Is preschool before kindergarten or is kindergarten? Yeah. And then what's before preschool?
Head Start? I don't know.
Parents. And that's where it has to start. Right? And then everyone needs to be retrained. And I'll tell you, you know, so I started my first beginner's class with my golden doodle yesterday at PetSmart. Right? And I'm thinking, you know, okay, she's going to learn the basics. I want to have her go through and get all of her certificates. And then, you know, either therapy, maybe both therapy and emotional support animal. At one point during the discussion, teacher's awesome. You know how sometimes you can be so intuitive and just flowing with the one thing you're passionate about, but other than that, we're truly kind of out there. We all are, right? In some ways. She was the most amazing kind of a dog whisperer, intuitive. I just loved her, but you wouldn't never suspect it, you know, because then she would just be herself at other times. But that's what makes it just charming. But anyway, Hope had her little chin on my leg. While she was talking, she said, there's a therapy dog right there. Hope already has the instinct. Anyway, I want to be able to go all the way with her. But listen, here's the point. When I trained my golden retriever when I was in the ashram, when I had a dog in college, I didn't train at all. Both golden retrievers. But in an ashram, I did take her to school, and it's totally different training now. It's all about positive reinforcement. It's all about, I mean, how could a dog not want to do that training? All we did was give her treats. Give them treats. Pocket of treats, man. And it was like when they taught sit, she had a tennis ball, and she said, now listen, and you have a clicker. She said, when this ball hits the ground, I want you all to click and pull out a treat. Because when the ball hits the ground, it's when your dog's butt sits on the ground. And when you're teaching her to sit, because when that butt hits the ground of your animal, click, treat. When you ever want her to do anything that you want her to do, click, treat. You never use the word no again. We talked about parents earlier. You never use the word no. And you never just repeat over and over, well, you didn't get it, you didn't get it. You never keep calling the dog's name. We weren't allowed to do any of that. We just started with the thing that we knew we wanted to teach them, and we didn't pick up their paws and put the paws up on this little thing that she wanted us to do at one point. You didn't tell them. You just let them find it for themselves. I was finding deep, powerful, metaphysical truth in this little puppy training, man. You know? Maybe it's because I'm just so open and receptive to all this stuff. But look at it in your life. That's why I say you have to unlearn everything now. Because there's a high probability that what we have going on as our learning, what we use as a compass, that head stuff or whatever, emotion stuff, or I'm going to manifest something stuff, or I got to do this, I got to figure out what I'm going to do, all that stuff, you got to just completely wipe it out and start over. Yeah, and have no idea. It's just, and get positively reinforced for every little thing you do, and especially. So I don't know what treats you want to give yourself, but this is going human now. This is going human, baby. Whatever, a little popcorn or whatever you love, you know. And and let's put it in this way for one practice, when you remember the breath. When you remember the breath, and remember how we in our coaching, my coaching program, it's just like the Holy Trinity. Breath is the first thing. You breathe to remember, and you remember to breathe. First thing of anything is breath. Because as soon as you do that, you're out of that linear side of your brain. You're out of what you're doing, and you're focusing on this gift of life. And if you take that deeper, then there's the life behind the life that you're breathing in. The love behind the emotions that you're breathing in. So we do the breath first, then the step, meaning the practice. Because when you unlearn, now you have to put your new set of practices in there, your new mindsets and your heart programs into place. And what? Practice, 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 practice. So the third thing of that Holy Trinity, so you have breath, you have your practice or the step or the principle, the eternal principle. Then you have love. Love. So the first thing that she says, you know, and you have to have this very specific commands for exactly the one thing they're doing. So she started with yay or yes when they did anything right. And that never changes. So now listen, when you receive a breath today and you remember what we were vibing at this morning and you breathe in that love, and I don't care where you are, if you're alone, you still give love. Back to the invisible, intangible, and the heart lovers in every heart anyway. And I want you to give yourself that treat and yay, yes! Because we are notorious in our old programming to minimize. Just like some people just don't know how to train their children. They don't know what they're doing with themselves. They don't know how to train an animal either. And some animals are seriously abused. But we are seriously abusing ourselves when we're not positively reinforcing ourselves, not just because of some human idea you have, but a big idea you have. You know, I was telling Cameron, you know, and they do mindfulness training for these athletes, you know, because you kind of have to be careful and you can't bring in the religious words, I'm sure, and it pushes people's buttons. But damn, it's the secret of sports. It's the secret of athletic, what we're talking about here. And then those records that seem to be unbreakable and all that, and the impossible that seems that it's not possible. It's just like, because you've reprogrammed. You're not about the expectation of a friggin' medal. That's so limiting. Everyone, the Super Bowl, the World Series, the medals is so limiting. It's so limiting. No, how about your personal best? How about everyone's personal best on and off the rowing boats and in daily life? How about personal best across the board? If everyone did that on this team, we wouldn't even have to worry about where we're going to place in the standings. Because naturally, the force of the universe is going to be powering you guys up. You'll break every record that's ever been made. Every one. when it's about your personal best, win or lose. Penalty or no penalty. It's your personal best. And what is our personal best? I told you, you're going to receive thousands and thousands of breaths today. How about each one being your personal breath? How about each one as a treat from your soul? Wow, that was amazing that you actually did one breath today without feeling rushed, without your mind all over the joint, with just your heart and soul into receiving what? This universal love force. This universal life force, this universal light force, and you receive it, and then you give your love. That is all that is required of us earthlings, I swear. That's all what we're talking about. And then you're going to get all these gyrated teachings that are going to take you, oh, this is good, yeah, you can sit down and do this, and you can listen to this bowl, and you can do this thing, but you guys now have your sacred teachings when you lay there for the Nidra, when you're there listening to the bowls. Now, it's not just the bowls can't do a damn thing for you. No, but your awareness, your experience of love coming in and giving love to everyone laying there with you is going to uplift that whole group, which is going to uplift this whole town, which is going to uplift this whole, kind of like Confucianism, you know? And then this whole world, just like that, just because now you're tapped into the love force. So you have to do this dog training with me. No, I'm serious. It's for adults. It really is. And that's why I'm going to just pour myself into it, because I see the brilliance of it. It's positive reinforcement. You cannot, I know there's training for children and that for positive reinforcement, but I mean, now it's for you. It's for you. You have to you have to first acknowledge the behavior that you don't want yourself to do. You know, she caught me time and time again, either holding too hard on the leash or, you know, giving too much away before Hope, as my dog, discovered it on her own and all that stuff. So there's going to be lots of things that you need to discover about yourself and then decide what's my new behavior. What's my principle? This is why I teach the 31 principles, right? Because it's not enough to say, oh, that sounds good, I want to do it. But you need to know exactly what you need to focus on. And that's why I spent 50 years focusing on these certain principles that I'm sharing with people. And that's nothing. 50 years is nothing. Lifetimes you're going to need to unlearn. But if you can unlearn quickly and be willing to learn quickly and to start at beginner stage and always be in beginner stage, you could go rapidly. You change one behavior no longer serving you with one positive behavior that serves you, and the whole thing changes right there. Just like one breath can change everything for you. One breath today. So that's why I'm really, really, really big on awareness of the breath. And then the focus, and then this thing. Pour your heart into it. Give it your all. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall. No, no. Pour your heart into it. Give it your all. Come on now. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall. Because you know that programming that you have on there? Bad boy, bad girl. Might even get spanked for it. Never, you know, I can't do that with my golden doodle. I just can't. And I can't do it with myself anymore. Maybe that's why I don't do it with that golden doodle. I've never raised my voice with her. Never. How can she be a bad girl? How could you be a bad person? How? But that's old programming that's in there. So we gotta, that is stuff that we're gonna have to go counterintuitive on and have a real focused regime like anyone who's doing professional sports. We're professional lover. We're going to make a living out of love, okay? In a big time way. We're going to put this to the acid test, and we're going to see how these abundant principles of the universe work when you're attuned 100% to them and you've trained yourself. Remember, training. It's training day. I keep saying to the yogis, over how many years have we been here? 18 years. And then in all the counseling I did in the years in SRF, I've been telling people, it ain't nothing just to hear this. It ain't enough just to get inspired. It ain't enough that every now and then you kind of remember this thing. You got to have a sacred altar of constant remembrance of the what? Breath. The principle that you're going to train for and in to receive, to become that, and then the love, baby, and then the love. Over and over and over again. So pour your heart into it. Give it your all. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall, no, no. Pour your heart into it. Give it your all, no, no. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall. There's only glory sweet, glory sweet, glory sweet. Glory, hey, give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all, baby, give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all. Pour your heart into it, give it your all, come on now, hold nothing back, there ain't no fall. I sat with a woman yesterday after the dog training. I sat there and I was trying to say to her, if you get a spark, baby, to let that thing go out, it's like the world just was attacked by the enemy and everybody's home is burning down and it's a catastrophe if you don't follow that spark in your heart. If you don't take that and move it into a little kindling and then into a fire and follow up on what that inspiration is. And if you have to go running on the beach or to a place and just scream, I don't care, but you cannot suppress it. I was that kind of in her face when she said, my whole upbringing was suppressing me around that. Every time I opened my mouth, there was this negative said about it. So you see what kind of stuff that we have lurking underneath here. And so I'm saying, kids, but now we're gonna turn this ship around. Just like you were rowing in reverse, dude. That is a real sign. I'm telling you, you can't make up this stuff. When his whole thing is this, right? It's this. And then you were going like this. Because this is the point of the morning. I wish we had a camera on you guys while it's on me. Come on, let's just finish up with this. Dang, it's a good morning, huh? Dang. This is why I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Someone said, are you ever not excited? No. We have a little construction at the house, and I come out, and I can't wait to see the workers and go, God, this is so cool. And they go, are you ever not excited? No! Get used to it. Because every moment is new. Every moment is new. When you can drop the old and have no agenda on human life today, it's new. And this is what God's saying. Divine being having, and I don't use a human experience. Practically every one of your people and teachers will say, we're divine beings, some of them, probably not when you're teaching those people, having a human experience. What a cop-out that is. What a friggin' cop-out that is. We're divine beings having a divine experience. How, when, where, now. This breath, inhale. In this breath, we've got to focus somewhere. And exhale. This is all that is required of us earthlings. So, you all ready to do another round of that? Isn't this a cool song? Should have heard my band put this thing into gear, right? Pull your heart into it. Give it your all. Come on now. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall, no, no. Pour your heart into it. Give it your all. Hold nothing back. There ain't no fall. What is there then? There's only glory sweet, glory sweet, glory sweet, glory. Hey, give it your all, baby. Come on, give it your all, baby. Give it your all, baby. Come on, give it your all. Pour your heart into it. Give it your all. Hold nothing back. I gotta sing this for the rowing club, man. They should get off on a song like that, right? Or maybe I'll be at the end of the boat and be singing that, and they're going like this. Pour your heart into it, give it your all. Come on now, hold nothing back. There ain't no, oh no. Pour your heart into it, give it your all. Come on now, hold nothing back. There ain't no fall. Then what is there then? glory sweet, glory sweet, glory. Hey, give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all, baby. Give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all, baby. Give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all, baby. Give it your all, baby, come on, give it your all. One more round, all right? Pour your heart into it, give it your all. Hold nothing back, there ain't no fall. You're gonna have to express today, man. You cannot be pent up anymore. You can't hold these ideas in your mind. You can't hold frustration in your energy field. It's all got to cycle through. Pour your heart into it, give it your all. Come on now. Hold nothing back, there ain't no fall, no, no. Pour your heart into it, give it your all. Come on now. Hold nothing back, there ain't no fall. There's no fall, there's no failure. There's only glory sweet, glory sweet, glory sweet, glory. Hey, give it your all. Look at this. Wow. I mean, that thing was ridiculously cool when we were circulating the love this morning. So don't ever underestimate the power of a few. Please don't. We've had some deep impact today. Please don't doubt these things. You are a deep impact. You are an immortal soul. Enough energy in a gram of flesh to light up the city of Chicago for 2 days and nights. And don't tell me you don't have the power. Don't tell me you don't have the ways and the means to completely change your life from human to divine. Don't tell me that you don't know how to do something. You can't go there anymore. It's debilitating. We have to form a circle of love, like she says, and we can't have suspicion about each other. We can't have, well, she just left the group, and then we start talking. You can't. You have to watch every thought. We are here to uplift each other. We are here to be an unbelievable positive reinforcement training with each other. Now, where are you guys going to go for that? You're going to go to just a normal person? You're going to go to your family people? You're going to do what? Where are you going to find a group? Ever since I came in the ashram, we formed this place, Trish and we formed groups, and every group and every training, you say to them, the day they're leaving, listen guys, you're sky high now. But mark my words, by this evening or at the latest tomorrow, it's all going to be gone. So what are you going to do about it? Breathe. And stay in a group. Find a group. I don't care what it is. But that's all I've done is form groups. And all I've done is seen people leave the groups. Why? Because they're still afraid to unlearn. And most importantly, they're really afraid to learn. And they somehow think they're going to just live out the rest of their life and that's it. Just being who they are. Without this radical commitment, right? To win the gold. God, I love sports for that reason. But sports have a long ways to go. And then you get in a fight in there, the sportsmanship, and then there are fights at home. I mean, come on, man. There's blind leading the blind here. We got to do our personal best, and that's between you and your higher self. That's between you and God, and you're accountable only to that at the end of the day. So look at your scorecard and look at the review films on that. But what do we do in our program? We just send infinite love and forgiveness and compassion to edit the film of today. We don't make it wrong. Am I going to scold the dog who doesn't even remember from one moment to the next what I think, wow, that I was upset with her? You think they remember that? They don't. We do. And our super intelligence as human beings. So we got to just clean the slate every day. Personal best every day. And remember, discover how many breaths you'll be taking about today for 18 hours if you're up 18 hours. Do your calculations and let's get scientific around love. Let's bring our hands together. Thank you guys. This is why I do this stuff, because I cannot help but share. I cannot help it, man. So I'm going to be sharing some way. That's why for 2 years in a row, I wrote blogs on Facebook. For another year and a half, I was every morning at 7 a.m. Just sharing my guts out on there. Video after video after video. Without the expectation which leads to what? a premeditated frustration. You just got to pour your heart into it. Let's chant it home for the activation of all this. Inhale. Please place your left hand on your heart, your right hand over it, and make a vow, a recommitment. Now, this thing can't be abandoned. You can't be leaving this unattended, baby. This thing needs so much good energy today, it's ridiculous. You have to have an eternal watch on your heart, because I think most of you chose to be a heart lover rather than a headmaster of yourself. And so it is. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Namaste.
Namaste.
And those at home, if you have the guts, share the stream. My friends won't understand it. Yeah, well, you don't have the guts. I hope I see you next week.